Sony, Memoir of a Glorious Time and the Forgotten Emperor. The name Sony Ericsson must have struck a chord in people who were born during the 80s and 90s, as this is one of the most popular products created by Sony during the beginning of the 20th century. The extent of Sony influence on society during the 90s and 2000s doesn't end with the Sony Ericsson, but it was also increased to products like the Walkman cassette, the Sony TV and Discman media player, and even the PlayStation, which is still a product many yearn for. For a company with such fame and impact, who would have thought that Sony could have sullied their image 30 years into the future? Yet, the world market is where anything could happen, and one small mistake is all it takes for the domino effect to take place, ruining an entire empire. Sony Corporation, always better known as Sony, originated in Japan, with their headquarters stationed in Minato, Tokyo. The predecessor of Sony was called Tokyo Tsushin Kyogo. It was created by Akio Morita and Masaru Ibuka in May 1946. The company started off extremely small, with only 20 personnel and a total fund of 1900,000 yen. After more than a decade of operation, the company decided to change their name back to Sony, taking inspiration from the word Sonus in Latin and Sony in English. Both Morita and Ibuki were outstanding engineers with ambition of carving their name into humanity's technological roadmap. Reflecting the greed that they carried, Sony immediately registered their brand in over 170 countries. The payoff CEO also knew that in order to search the market, their product must focus on the current need of the consumer and include features that could popularize itself in the future. With their principle engraved into each meeting, Sony introduced their first product, the G-Type tape recorder. Being much smaller than the norm, Sony completely changed the landscape of Japan tape recorder, setting both a new standard and a name for themselves. A few years later, Sony released a barrage of products during the 15 years period between 1960 and 1975. Their first cassette player named CV2000 in 1964, their first color TV with exclusive hardware label Trinitron, their first portable cassette player dubbed TC50 in 1968, all acting as preparation for the Sony Walkman, a real phenomenon during the 80s, propelling Sony onto the top of the world with a staggering 400 million sold. Along with the Sony Discman, which will equal part as impactful, has engraved Akio Morita and Masaru Ibuki into the humanity technological roadmap. When they have achieved everything they want in the technological market, Sony started to shift their focus onto the film and music industry, buying both Columbia Pictures and CBS Record as a statement for their involvement. Ironically, the purchase would mark the company's fall from grace. Sony started to lose their pre-established advantage from their competitor. Combined with the company head losing sight of the principle, Sony started to lose sight of what they want to be. Filled with hesitation and indecisiveness, the company failed to adapt to digital media when their Walkman and Discman started to be outdated. Not to be considered, the company didn't find much success on the iPhone and laptop market, and even their CRT TV series fell pale in comparison to their competitor LED TV. Sony was too confident on the Trinitron series, leading up to them deluding themselves into thinking their exclusive technology is better than the upcoming one, resulting in an abomination that is the FD Trinitron series. Only the PlayStation seemed to be performing fine out of everything Sony dished out. This was reflected in 2004, when the company total income decreased down 75% compared to 2003, even if the PlayStation 2 was performing fine. Then, when did it all go wrong? Was it pride or even pointless? It might have been both, especially when Sony wanted to monopolize on their Blu-ray technology, even after the constant missteps like 8-track, memory stick, and mini disc. But it seemed like Sony has finally found their footing on the entertainment and gaming industry. And with Sony Pictures and PlayStation, Sony has been slowly climbing up to the top. It might take a long time, but if Sony keep up their pace, it is only a matter of time before they make it up again.